Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at Sidus space. This was a stock analysis request from one of the followers, and I wanted to let you know that anyone can make these requests and I'll most likely cover them, especially if there is an actionable trade setup to follow. And in the case of this chart, we are of course dealing with a quite bearish structure, so we are in an all-time downtrend, and here we have even a potentially impulsive structure forming to the downside, where I could consider this to be an initial double 1-2-1-2 setup, and based on the larger movement to the downside that followed, I could even track this as an impulse within the wave 3 complete. Now in this case we would expect a larger correction. This shouldn't be a surprise, but it wouldn't necessarily be expected to be anything more than just a wave 4. Based on this structure, we would actually still expect to continue in this downtrend, and we would have a resistance area that we could track for such an interpretation at the levels between the $3.5 all the way up to the $24 level. Now these levels may not be exact, but overall we are looking very much roughly around the 50% retracement here. Whether that is the 24 exactly, whether that is the 24.5, yeah, doesn't matter too much. The essence is that within this push to the upside, we are expecting either to form something like a three-wave structure in this correction in wave 4, could be built even in a much smaller time frame, something like this, A, B, C, W, X, Y, doesn't matter exactly, but we would expect a three-wave pattern or a triangle to be formed within this overall pattern, within this overall correction, before continuing in our overall downtrend in a follow-up wave 5. And once we actually manage to break above the last level of resistance, we can consider with higher likelihood a larger uptrend to have started. We can consider a more bullish structure, although ultimately it may still be decently bearish anyway, because yeah, look at the downtrend we are within. There are many scenarios that could still allow continuation lower, even if we don't manage to succeed in pushing through in this interpretation of an impulse. In the end, I will be tracking this movement to still continue higher, and we will continue to do so until we actually hold the internal areas of support, but I can already tell you this may be a complete structure within the wave 4. Yeah, we don't need any additional highs to consider this a WXY as a wave 4 complete and to look for direct continuation in a fifth wave to the downside. Now, even within this interpretation, I might still prefer to form a slightly higher high, yeah, another leg up within this area, but nothing too significant should be expected if this is to be considered a complete structure within the correction. And at this point, yeah, we don't have anything indicating that we should expect much further continuation. Maybe if we manage to form here an initial 5-wave move to the upside, we could see an interesting correction in a 3-wave pattern and then get followed by at least another 5-wave move to the upside that, who knows, could even break above the resistance area. But that would be an interesting area of support to track, but again, only if we manage to get here the wave 4 correction and a fifth wave to follow. Only then will we actually have an interesting trade setup, and we will be tracking exactly that, and we will also be tracking an internal area of support that could allow continuation within an internal structure at these levels. Now in this interpretation, I will mainly focus on the larger area of support, of course, and that would be for a correction in a leading diagonal, which would have the levels of support between the $3.5 all the way down to the $1.7 level. And the break below the 61.8% retracement would already be a strong indication that a fifth wave may already be unfolding to the downside. Now, I cannot guarantee that it will happen in a direct fashion. It could still work out that this wave 4 would extend higher, that it would extend within a triangle, but the expectations for continuation higher would not have a, let's say, strong foundation. It would not have a strong base to actually track such an interpretation. Now, with that said, within this area, we are of course tracking an ABC movement within a wave 1, we are tracking an ABC within a wave 3, and this is exactly where I want to also focus on a smaller time frame, because within the wave C of this wave 3, we are tracking a 5-wave move to the upside. And while it could be complete, while we don't absolutely need to see extensions to consider that such a structure could have been completed, we could see it extend in a number of ways actually. So I would start with considering this to be the initial wave 1 up, to have here a wave 2 down, and then this could have been the third wave up, but I could also see this entire movement to be the wave 3. I could even see this to be an ABC movement, in which case this would be only a 1-2 setup within the wave C. But again, none of them actually have a strong basis of support because none of them actually have an internal 5-wave structure. Yeah, this movement is also in 3 waves, which is why I could consider this to be the 5th wave instead, in which case the 3rd wave would be complete. But if we are to track continuation higher from this structure, from this internal potential area, I would be looking at the 61.8% retracement at the $3.4 level as the last level of support. Yeah, a break below that level would signal that the 3rd wave has already completed and that we are in the larger wave 4 correction. Now, we may also track here an internal area of support for a potential 1-2 setup, but again, 3-wave move, not a high probability. I wouldn't necessarily focus too much on continuation from that level, and instead where we may find more interest would be here the 38.2% retracement, because that would be also the ideal target for wave 4, and here we will be tracking continuation higher within a yellow scenario. But again, this is not a high probability interpretation. We are tracking this, but this is not necessarily a trade setup, as the actual structure could allow completion and could allow a larger correction to have already started. Now, if we actually want, we can track even the internal pattern within this area, although the structure isn't very clear and I would even need to go on or in the 5-minute time frame, and even then the structure would be very choppy. I could consider this to be an A wave down, B wave up, and a C wave could unfold within this area. And normally I would be looking at the 100% extension of the wave A for an ideal target, but we are nearly there, and I wouldn't consider this pattern necessarily complete. Maybe within a WXY, but I don't know. It's just still not very reliable, not at all. Yeah. And in the end, nothing is really stopping this structure to form a larger series of 1-2 setups, because we haven't broken above any significant previous swing high. Yeah, I could track this as a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, or this could even be the wave 3 already. No significant top has been broken that could signal to us that this is rather a corrective pattern and that something more bearish may not be going on. And for those reasons, I would caution you to stay on the safe side and, yeah, to be honest, ideally even wait for the larger structure to be built in the 5-wave move to the upside and then look for the 3-wave correction if you really are interested. But as I see it, this is a very high risk chart. It has seen very much upside in the last month, but the risk is undeniable. And for now, these are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover. And I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.